Welcome to the Reticle Up podcast, where I, 3-Gun Kenzie, will be interviewing competitive shooters, hunters, fishermen, archers, entrepreneurs, and outdoorsmen. Come learn with me as I interview people from all walks of life, in different disciplines, all across the world, from novices to professionals of all ages. No matter what, everyone has something they can teach you, so come join me on the journey. Welcome back to the Reticle Up podcast. I've got a special guest on today. So Foster Bartholow is a multi-world champion in trap shooting. He's on Team Browning and Winchester. We'll talk a little bit about it as well, but his brother is also a competitive shooter and world champ. So there's some dynamics here. So Foster, how are you, first of all?
Thanks for inviting me on. I'm super excited to be here, but doing well.
Yeah.
We're to head out for the trap shooting circuit this year. So basically we're going to South Dakota State, Iowa State. We go down for the AIM Grand to help probably around 1,000 to 1,500 kids down there. We're going to do a youth clinic down there. And then we have 2 weeks of shooting for us, which is the Grand American. And we have the preliminary week, then the finals week. And that's where everybody goes. It's the world finals for trap shooting for the ATA, basically the mecca for that. And then get back home, and I have an elk tag. So excited for that after 23 years of applying.
Yeah, I know that's been on your bucket list for a long time. That's so cool.
Yeah. So yeah, we're
I was gonna say, does your brother get to go with you, or is that just you on the elk tag?
It'll be just me on the elk tag. I think my dad's going to help quite a bit. I have a couple other friends that want to help with it. So it's going to be a fun one, though. We've got out, I think, 18 or 19 trail cameras already. Wow. And so it's been a long haul for that one, because people don't realize, it takes 45 minutes to set up a trail cam just by driving to different spots, getting these trail cams up and finding the water. So it's a lot of work, but it sounds cool.
Yeah, no, I'm excited for you. I'm really excited for you. So what's interesting too is you and I'll say virtually met on social media. And this happened to me a couple of times where we had known each other, I feel through social media already. So we met at SHOT Show this year, which is so cool that SHOT Show has been this connection point for me for meeting a lot of people. I'm I feel I already know you. There's no
right? Yeah, absolutely. It's heck yes, I know. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I love it. And people make fun of SHOT Show, whatever, but I love going to it. That was a lot of fun this year.
Yeah, it's so much fun. seeing everybody, people don't realize it's that get together, that family industry group that everybody knows each other, and there's so many people within it.
Yeah, and I wouldn't run into you at, USVSA or 3-Gun. So you wouldn't run into me either. So it's good that we have that to connect.
Yeah, definitely. And you shot that Browning shotgun really well too.
Dude, I need the Maxus too, guys. Look it up. It's the most wonderful shotgun ever.
That it is. Yeah.
Look at it. Actually, while you have it, you should tell them the features that are really cool about that shotgun.
Yeah, so they really did a lot with the cosmetics with this one. My favorite are they have rubberized grips on them. Obviously your cheek pad, and yeah, just the overall feel of this gun in hand feels a lot better. I do for goose hunting, they updated this handle. So just like the other one, it was okay. But this one, when you have gloves on and stuff and it's -30 out, this is the way to go. And it cycles phenomenally well. Shot a lot of geese with it this past season. And
it's so cool.
It shoots where I aim with it. So yeah.
That's so neat. Now with them, do you get to prototype or test firearms before they hit the market with them?
No.
Just curious.
Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet.
I want to see a Foster model shotgun with your name on it.
Right. Bartholow Brothers Trap Shooting Edition. Heck yeah.
Yes. Okay. Let's start with that. So first of all, in general, were you guys raised around firearms? How did that even become part of your life?
Yeah. So, I've always been around guns. My dad shoots, he hunts. He really got us into the outdoors, and we'd be going out, probably, I'd say a couple times a month, especially during the summertime, just going out, taking the trap thrower and going out and having fun, so I was definitely ingrained with that outdoor background, a lot more than I think other people. That's what I lived and breathed when I was younger, was hunting and shooting. And was completely engulfed with it. So we just did that a lot. In high school, I ended up seeing a flyer for the trap club for the youth clinic, or for the youth team trials, or the tryouts for it. And so I was like, hey, let's try this out. This looks like a lot of fun. We went to the shoot. Both my brother and I did phenomenally well. And it was just kind of like, where have you guys been? And so we got onto the team, shot really well that year at the Grand American, which at that time it was in Vandalia, Ohio, was when we got our first Brownings, trap grade. That is, there's two different grades of shotguns, and we can definitely go through that later on in more detail. But one's a trap grade, and one's more of a field grade for like your hunting stuff. So once you upgrade it into this trap grade shotgun, there's a lot of things that help with trap shooting, and typically people see their scores go up. But yeah, so we got our first Brownings from there, and it just went crazy after that.
So how many ages, like the age difference between you two? I can't remember.
My brother and I are 2 years apart.
Okay. Yeah, so you're pretty close there. So once you got the Brownings, were you sponsored by them, or you're saying like you got a shotgun? When did that come into play?
So this is actually the first Browning trap grade shotgun that we bought. Definitely we're not sponsored at all. I still use this one. What is it, like 20 years later now, just because it is that reliable. And I think I hold like a 99.5 average for singles with it.
Good Lord.
So it's kind of one of those things, like, if it's not broke, don't fix it.
How many rounds do you have through that, do you think?
Oh God. I would say easily 500,000. Probably more, but yeah, for sure. It's a lot of shooting. The barrels held up phenomenally well. And like I said, I was out last night at like 10:30 at night shooting practice under the lights, and still doing fine with it. But a lot of it comes down to choke tube selection as well. And we can go over that too.
Yeah. Now, is it similar like rifles where you can like blow out a barrel with that?
Yes. There's probably a lot better, or a lot of other people that have better response that are more on that than I am. But I've heard that, yes, you can essentially wear a barrel out.
Yeah.
I don't think yet, but that's, yeah, to each their own.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so actually, while you have that gun in front of you, let's talk about that. So for someone getting in and looking at trap guns, I know how expensive they are, and I know how expensive they are to get a custom one. Thousands of dollars. Yeah. But what people don't get that, like how to fit a shotgun to you and like how to customize it. So can you go over like some of those aspects on that gun and what you did to fit yourself?
Sure. So they're like getting into it right away, talking about an investment. People will spend thousands of dollars literally for their kids going through 6+ years of basketball or into baseball, right? Like baseball, you have baseball bats, gloves, cleats, shoot, everything. Like you think of all the stuff, time, energy, effort, driving to the range, like doing everything. There's thousands of dollars invested into this, and you're getting zero return back after them playing that sport. Where it's nice, you invest in a trap shooting gun, and this model is discontinued at this point, but like the new 725s, they're realistically that $4,000 to $5,000 range, depending on the features. But if you buy a kid one of these guns at the end of the 6-8 years or the lifetime, right? You can have it for a lifetime too, and it's not going to go bad. But you always have an investment with the shotgun, which is nice compared to other sports where they get out of it. You can always sell it, and the resale value tends to keep its weight up there pretty well. So
for my mother who's not listening, this is my investment for my retirement.
Exactly. It's a lot of investments. So yeah, when we start talking about different guns, and then we get into the trap grade, what makes it different from a field grade? So you're going to have a lot more adjustability and configurability with it. So we talk, one thing is getting the comb set. So you notice how it's cut out here. This is adjustable, and I don't know if you can see it on here, but maybe not. But it is, offset just a little bit, and it's a little bit higher. So it really gives me the opportunity to get that good cheek weld, like you guys talk about in rifle shooting too. where it's locked on every single time without me having to really bend my head over and tilt it, which is going to be one of the biggest factors. Now, some of these trap shooting grade guns, just like with any sport, you can go crazy with it. Like there's like $20,000 to $40,000 shotguns out there. So realistic expectation. I mean, it's a $5,000 shotgun isn't crazy, but they work really well. Everyone can service a Browning in the U.S. and that's why we first went with it, because everybody could fix it if there was an issue where we're not having to send it overseas if we have a problem.
Right.
So the second thing with the gun, with the trap shooting grade gun, is typically you have more adjustability within the trigger, where you can move it back and forth if you need to. It's a heavier gun overall versus like your hunting grade guns, and that's to take out a lot of that recoil, that felt recoil. With this gun, I mean, I'm shooting, well, between all the guns we have, but for a trap shooting event, we're shooting typically 300 shells a day. So you have to have something that can take that recoil and disperse it into the gun versus you getting all that felt recoil and your shoulder hurting at the
12
end.
gauge too? 12 gauge?
Yep, 12 gauge. Yep.
Now, what length barrel is that?
That one is a 34 inch.
Whew.
They have, I think typically for trap shooting, it's 30, 32, 4.
Yeah. So I think I have a 30. I don't know. I've got to go look. I pick it up today. Okay, so that's neat about the shotgun. Now let's go into like the chokes. And then I want to get into ammo too. But the chokes are really important. People don't understand that they need to like pattern a shotgun, know where it shoots, and different ammo runs differently in chokes.
100%.
Yeah. So how do you deal with all that?
Right? So many people don't know that. And like for turkey season, I try to blow that up on social media just because not many people know about that. And it's really critical when it comes down to your performance. So yeah, with trap shooting, I mean, you have so many different choke tubes, right? You have some that have like your pattern master here, basically that have ribs on the inside of the choke tube. So essentially what that does is, their theory is it will catch the wad for a split second, slow that down so it allows a shot to go out before the wad, to help improve pattern performance and lower shot string length, where a regular choke tube, keeps everything aligned. For trap shooting, I keep it with a standard choke. I do have the Teague choke tubes. They are definitely a kind of an upgraded one from like your standard choke tube. They work well, but yeah, it's just different constrictions obviously make it a tighter pattern or more open pattern on what you want and how far you're shooting away. So with trap shooting, there's 3 different disciplines for those listeners and watchers that aren't a trap shooter. You have singles, handicap, and doubles. So singles is from the 16-yard line. You have 5 different posts that you shoot from, and you have 1 trap house out in front of you, which is 16 yards away. You shoot 25 in a round, and then total of 100 shells for that event. Then you go over to handicap, and handicap is basically judged by your earned yardage that you have. So you'll start at like the 20-yard line, and as you earn yardage and shoot good scores, you move your way back all the way to the 27-yard line. So obviously shooting at the 27-yard line is a little bit more difficult than shooting at the 20-yard line. So it requires different things for choke tubes, different ammo, different point of impacts. And I guess I didn't go through that. Point of impact for a trap shooting gun will be typically anywhere from like a 60-40 to 100% high. What that means is it's basically shooting 2 inches high to like 10-12 inches, like the sky's the limit, however high you want to shoot. So you never have to cover that clay target. Versus a hunting gun, it's shooting a 50-50, where basically if you aim right here, that pattern's right there.
So I don't understand what you just said on 40, 60, 50, 50. So let's start with trying to figure that out.
Okay. Sorry about that. I just get ran.
Good. It's good. I want to learn.
So your hunting grade shotgun is going to be a very flat shooting gun, is what we call that, where basically when you bring up the gun and you point at something, right? So if you were aiming at this choke tube, that pattern when you shoot is going to be completely engulfed around that specific thing you're shooting. Right. So if you think, what I mean by 50-50 is, if you have a circle and you draw a line exactly through it and you put your dot right in the middle where you're aiming, 50% of that pattern is going to be above that line and 50% be below that line. So it's a flat shooting gun. Okay. Whereas in trap shooting, if you have like a 60-40, a 60-40 is going to be approximately 2 inches high for your center point. So you're still going to be aiming right in that middle, but your pattern's actually just going to be shifted up a little bit. So
how do you set up a gun to shoot 60-40? Or is that part of buying the gun? Or is that the choke? Like, I don't understand that.
Yeah, so you can do a few things with, so with this one, I have obviously that raised cheek piece on it, or the raised comb. And what that will do is essentially,
of course, your line of sight higher
my point of impact with it. Yep. Yeah, so typically a trap shooting grade gun will come set to shoot at least 60-40, like 2 inches high, but it will go, like I said, the sky's the limit. There's adjustable ribs on some of them where you can get it, shooting 4 inches high or 6 inches high. Basically, whatever you need that feels comfortable. For myself personally, when I'm out trap shooting, I'm used to hunting, so it's more of a flat shooting gun anyways.
Right.
When I go out trap shooting, I don't want to cover that target. And that's kind of the nice thing with a trap shooting gun is that if like there's a wind or something and that target would jump a little bit, you see that and you can react to it. Whereas if you're using a field grade gun, you get to that target and it jumps, well, you're already covering it with the beads, so you can't. It's tougher to make a quick move with it. Okay. So it's always so basically I'll bring my bead, like if this is a clay target, I'll bring my bead right to the bottom edge of it, pull the trigger, and I'm hitting directly center in that clay target.
Okay. Now here's go ahead.
That makes sense.
Yeah, no, it makes sense to me. Very dumb question probably. So for people that I try to teach about shotgun, like your cheek weld, your eye is the rear sight, and that's what you're talking about when you're moving that up, down, left, right, whatever. Yeah. So you really can't shoot cross-eyed on a shotgun, like cross-eye dominate.
I mean, you definitely so I'm left eye dominant, but I shoot handed. There's a few things you can do with that. Hold, please.
Yep. That's why I asked this hard question.
So I'll see if you can see on here. Hopefully it shows up, but on my glasses, there's a piece of tape, essentially. We call it a magic dot. It's kind of tiny, but hopefully you can see.
Oh, I see it. Yeah. Yeah.
So essentially what that does is it's going to cover my left eye from seeing like about here to all the way past and all the way down the barrel. And so what happens is my left eye can't see that, my right eye takes over, and so I'm only seeing one image when I look down the barrel. But I can still keep both eyes open, so I'm not closing one and getting that eye fatigue.
Yeah.
By closing eye.
How do lefties shoot then?
What do you mean, like?
Like, so if they use a regular shotgun, they put it on the other side, and are they just getting shells like whacking into their arm all day?
Well, so the trap shooting grade guns are.
Oh, that's right, break action and over under and all that. Yeah.
But yes, there's actual left-handed specific guns. If you want, it's not semi-auto where it's if you're a lefty and they only make right, then you're up creek. So, but yeah, so I mean yeah, right. I don't know what your policy is, but anyways, yeah. So that's kind of the benefit. Like for hunting, I obviously have a right-handed shotgun, and I'll just typically close one eye and call it good. But I can shoot left-handed too, and yeah.
Okay, I'm still locked up creek. All right, so we got distracted at some point. What were we talking about? Chokes. We're talking about chokes. Yeah. I don't know where we went off on the other point of impact is where you went off on the tangent, which is good. But where did we stop at?
Yeah, so there's just a lot of different chokes, and when you go to pattern a shotgun, the different chokes that you use, like if you have 3 of them that are improved modified, and you go out and shoot all 3 or 4 or 5, whatever those choke tubes, you'll have different patterns, just because different choke tubes, even though they say improved modified the same exact thing, they can shoot a little bit different, left, right, up, down, or different pattern size as well. Same thing. So you start looking at the ammo you shoot and the choke tube you use. And I mean, literally for turkey hunting, I'll have ones that a pattern will be like up here, dead center, over here, wider, narrower. And so that's really what I try to tell people, because some people will go out and, if they're getting ready for turkey hunting, if they're getting ready for trap shooting, they'll go and they'll shoot a different ammo than what they're going to actually shoot for when they hunt or when they go out in competitions. And I try to tell people to stay away from that. Use one specific ammo, just because what you shoot with, yeah.
Sort of, though, right now, and times are tough. Now it's where it's like, you get what you get.
Yeah. But even with that, if you can at least try to stay consistent, if you can buy 3 flats of shells and have that for a shoot, like do that instead of buying, 5 boxes here and 5 boxes there.
Yeah.
It's not, and that's probably the whole hoarding thing that is causing this in the first place too. But anyways, yeah. So if you can, at least, if it's possible, try to keep your ammunition consistent.
Yeah. Now, where do you keep that data for shotgun choke patterns and shotguns and all that? Do you have it written down?
Right up here now.
But
yeah. But now I've gone out. I mean, I'm kind of one of those.
500,000 rounds through a shotgun. You probably know.
Right. My brother's the complete opposite though. Like he doesn't want to pattern his gun much. Like he'll do it a couple times, but not definitely like what I do. Like I go out crazy, like every single year, like go and pattern the gun, make sure it's shooting where it needs to be. Just 2 completely different aspects of personalities And so, yeah, I mean, it's to each their own, but if you can, especially like you get a new gun, whether it's a hunting gun or trap shooting gun, anything, it's always good to go and pattern that gun just to make sure it's shooting where you're aiming or where you're pointing.
Yeah, so I don't go to a competition without checking zero, whether it's at the range or before I leave. But yeah, I mean, even like before 3-gun matches, like Rob and I would go out and make sure like that gun's zeroed. I mean, zeros can shift in flights. I've had that happen in the car. Mounts can do that too. But yeah, there's a lot that goes wrong. So for people listening, love Matt, that's your brother. But do what we do and check.
Yes.
And learn.
Was it the video was it Hunter that posted that one of his scope falling off on Instagram?
Bye. And I sent him a message because I have one from Nationals where I only had 1 dot on the rifle. I borrowed the PCC, but yeah, floop, there goes the dot. So I was just shooting with an empty rail. I was like, cool.
Ooh, is that pretty common though? Does that happen?
No. So I was borrowing it, and since then I've put 2 dots on them, and this is my fault. So like, I carry my PC in a bag because you kind of have to for the sport, and you have to unbag it. Long story short, my offset 2 weekends ago came loose because it just jiggles the whole time. So at least I still have the primary gun. But then like for he had a QD mount, and so do I with the Hollisons. Like they're the QD. I mean, they can come unlatched. Who knows?
Happens.
Just happens to the most unlucky ones.
Right?
So okay, shotgun loads, so ammo. So I know there's a bajillion rounds out there, but I'm curious about inches, velocity, ounces, shot pattern. What do you use for actual trap competition? And then if you want to share a little bit about the hunting side of stuff too.
Man, I could go off on another tangent, as you call it, with this too.
I mean, I've got ammo to test for the new gun that I just got, and it's all Winchester. This is a cool box, by the way.
Right? That new one, pretty awesome. Yeah, there's, like you said, there's so many different styles, right, of trap shooting, hunting rounds. It's tough to, like, I'm getting ready for my elk hunt. It's like, man, there's so many different selections of rifle shot or rounds, and it's like, which ones do you go with? But yeah, for trap shooting, they do have a set limitations of kind of what you have to use, or within specs, and so it can't be anything over 1,250 feet per second. You can't have more than 1 ounce and 1/8 of shot, and then the shot size is, I think it's 8 shot to. Now I have to think on this one, or 7.5 shot to 9 shot, I believe, or 9.5 shot is the kind of the standard, or you can't really go in between or above those, right? You can't go with like 6 shot or 10 shot.
That's singles, handicap, doubles, all of that. It's just all one set.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And you ask 100 different people and they're going to have their own recipes, what we call it, with all of our clinics. We try to say everybody's different, and what I shoot is not going to work for everybody else. To find your own recipe, and once you find that, stay consistent if you can with it. Obviously with shells right now, like we talked about, it's tougher, but yeah, so going over the trap shooting rounds that we use, for the 16-yard, we use it'd be your AA heavy loads, which is a 1200 feet per second, ounce and an eighth of 8-shot, and it hits it super hard. I know a lot of people use like your light round.
Use 1250s and 1300s and 3-gun, but those us to knock stuff over.
Yeah, you're not shooting like 200 of those, or maybe, but
some match, and I have done that. I've shot an all falling steel match with shotgun only, and it was like 300 rounds. So I loaded that all day. Yeah, it's fun.
Ooh.
Fun.
Fingertips torn by the end of that one.
Sure,
yeah, so,
bruised, but yeah.
So we get into for your sorry, it's been a morning hour. For handicap, so I'll shoot a 1250, so I'll increase the speed so it gets there a little bit quicker, and then I'll use 7.5 shot, still ounce and an eighth. So basically just a little bit bigger shot and a little bit faster, so it gets there approximately the same time of what I'm used to shooting with singles. Mm-hmm. And then for doubles, we go crazy with it. We shoot a light round first, followed by a heavy AA heavy load. And so essentially with that one, we're shooting the lights, which is 1145 feet per second of 8-shot, still ounce and an eighth. And reason for that is we keep everything ounce and eighth. They do make 1-ounce loads, but we're young, our shoulders are still good. And I'm one of those guys. It's like, man, if I could use a 3-inch shell or a 3.5-inch shell out trap shooting, I'd probably do it just because it's going to be more shot in there. But realistically though, we try to go ounce and eighth over just a 1-ounce load because it's more shot and a better pattern. So pretty simple, but it's kind of one of those things that a lot of people don't think about, or they just go, okay, this is great. And we try to really have a plan of consistency going into a shoot. So
consistency is huge. Now we did skip over that too. Dumb question. What are doubles?
Doubles. Yes. Thank you. So doubles is going to be, we did, didn't we?
We did.
Doubles is going to be from the 16-yard line as well, just like with singles. The only thing is instead of one target coming out, you have 2 targets coming out. It's nice with doubles. They are set for coming out in the same exact spots every single time versus oscillating like you'll see with 16-yard singles. So it's nice because there's a couple different styles of shooting that you can use because you know where they're coming out on that same plane every single time. You can do what you call spot shooting, where basically you find like a little point in the background where this target is intercepting, and you'll put your hold point up there. And when that target gets to it, you pull the trigger. So it's like super fast. So you say pull, and I mean right away you're shooting that clay target, which gives you a lot better time to get to that second target before it starts falling. So again, to each their own. There's a million different ways of shooting or how people shoot or the loads they use. It's just, I found a recipe that works well for me and I stick with it.
And that's when they pull, I mean, it both fly out. It's not like a report pair.
Right. Yep. They both fly out. Yep.
Right.
So like with that, we use a light load right away, just so there's less recoil, less muzzle jump, and to get on that second bird just a little bit quicker.
Cool. Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So what I really want to know too with this trap shooting, how did your brother win and you win? And how does that competitiveness kind of play off each other at matches?
Sure. So I guess we'll rewind it back to the start. We got our Brownings. Both my brother and I went through the SCTP, which is a Scholastic Clay Target Program, which is your, I guess, more high school shooting sports program. Myself, my brother, and 3 other people from Rapid City, we ended up winning the national title that year. I think it was 2005 or 2006.
So that was a team, like all 3?
Yep. 5 people total.
Okay.
Yep. So, but yeah, so ended up winning the national title for that. Now getting into the ATA, you don't really have team shooting. Like you'll shoot with 4 other people, but it's not like you're a team. Like the scores are all combined. So 2008. Fast forward now, 2008. I ended up winning the Grand American Singles Championship event. And it was really cool because out of, I think, about 6,000 shooters there, typically 50 to 70 people will run all 200 out of 200 singles targets. But for the championship event, they do 200 because it'll cut out a lot of people that miss one out of the 200 versus just doing 100 and then going into shoot-offs. So out of the 6,000 shooters, I think, there were 68 or ish people that ran all 200. So that night you go to the shoot-offs and basically you get checked in, and then they start calling off all these names, right? And they have a bunch of different trap houses and under the lights, and you just start shooting and keep going until you miss. I mean, realistically with singles. And so it went from like 70 people to 30 people to 15, 8. All of a sudden we just keep shooting. Got to 200 targets of shoot off that night, quit. So it picked up for that next night. So we all shot the events, and then shot 200 rounds for singles for that night for the shoot offs. And after, I want to say it was 600, 3 nights of shooting, it was myself and 2 other people left, which like this is already past like the longest shoot off ever before. So yeah, it was really cool in that regards, but overall ended up, the one kid dropped one, and it was myself versus one other guy. And we ended up going 1,100 rounds total before the president of the ATA came out and said, "Hey guys, like this is the last day of the Grand American, and performance wise, this is beyond what anyone's ever done. You've over doubled the longest shoot off in history." So they asked if we wanted to declare co-champion with this, which was really cool because it's the first time in history that that's ever happened too.
Yeah.
And so for me, this was obviously great. For my brother and I, it gave us a lot of exposure. We were able to get on with Browning, get on with Winchester, and really have our name starting to be recognized.
Yep.
And so that it was a huge deal for us because it opened the door to being able to help more people too, and get our message out. And then in 2011, my brother won the world doubles title with 2 targets coming out. And then, things just grew from there. We kept doing more and more youth clinics. We were going around doing, I think, probably 10 to 15 youth clinics a summer for free, not charging anything at all, and helping kids just, again, having a positive message. And fast forward now to where we're at. And my brother's held the highest double average, I think, for the last 7 out of 8 years.
What?
And has the, I think, second longest singles run with, what is it, 1,540 some targets without registered targets without missing for singles. And then we go to the Grand American, and it's tough because it's like just to win one award at the Grand American is phenomenal, and it's a huge honor to be honest. Like people go there for years and they never win a trophy. So I don't want to come off like we've won all this stuff. We try to stay very humble with it, but we do shoot very well and win quite a few trophies from the Grand, and we'll come home with typically around 20 plus trophies from the Grand. But again, like we say that, and not to brag about it, but just here's our shooting accomplishments. Like, me, I try to stay very humble about it because that's just not me. But
no, I mean, like that's again, a lot of people can't say that. I mean, you're shooting on Olympic level, I feel like, right?
Yeah. So we did try out for Olympics.
Okay.
I'll just say it wasn't my cards.
Okay.
in my, yeah. Great people that we met. We got to train with, at that time, the head coach for the Olympic shooting team, and we did phenomenally well. But it's just two completely, excuse me, two completely different styles of shooting. Nothing wrong with it. There's great people in it, but the impact that we have with ATA trap shooting, regular trap shooting, it's just tough to walk away from that at this point.
Yeah, no, I totally get it.
Yeah.
Okay, questions on winning all of these trophies and stuff. First of all, I want to know, because this is the same in any sport, what is your like mental game like to keep your head in it for that long, stay focused? And then what is your like training leading up to all of that?
God, yeah, that's a great question. So my dad used to play for the Phillies baseball team. So mental wise, he had the best coaches, best training coaches, and any sport you have like, if you look at like Tiger Woods, right? Like, he has a diet coach for eating right. He has a coach for this, a mental coach. Like, he has coaches throughout his whole entire life telling him to stay on this right path for this specific purpose. Trap shooting, any other sport you have, is no different. If you can find someone that's a good mental coach, I think that's where we got really very fortunate, is we have the best mental coach in the world. And it's my dad. But yeah, it's tough because, like, growing up, what do you know about mental side of things? And I could go and kick myself in the ass like 18 years ago, but I think that's everybody in general. But yeah, so we've been very fortunate to have the best mental coach and really elevate our game. What we talk about is perfect practice in all of our clinics that we do. There's two different ways of practice. Well, there's a lot of different ways, but there's two ways that we really focus on. One is a quantitative versus qualitative measure. So growing up, right, like, it was always like, okay, go hit 100 baseballs, go make 100 free throws, or shoot 100 free throws, go shoot 100 shells for trap shooting. It was always that quantitative, but it wasn't in a quality sense where you're dedicated with a purpose. Mm-hmm. And you see that a lot for any trap shooters, and probably three gun anybody, where they go on, they shoot practice and they do phenomenally well, but they get over to a competition, they fall apart. Mm-hmm. Well, why? That one can be mental, and two is how they actually train. So we call it perfect practice for that reason, because you can go out, instead of shooting 100 shells, and this is for trap shooting, instead of shooting 100 shells, go out and shoot 25 or 50, 100% dedicated, focused, and exactly like how you would shoot competition. My brother has a warm-up routine. It lasts typically 12 to 13 minutes, where he'll sit down, put headphones on, get in the zone, and he does that regardless if he's going out to shoot one box or one round of shells, or one box of shells, or shoot 300 rounds. Get ready for a competition. So the more you can keep everything consistent, the better. Again, we see so many people that they'll go out, they're not focused, they're not dedicated for practice. It's just, they're doing things and it's great, and then they get to competition and the wheels fall off, and it's like, well, what just happened? And it's like, well, sit down and think about this. And for kids, we see this a lot, where if we can implement some sort of competition between them, mm-hmm. It seems to elevate their game a little bit more than you would just saying, okay, you go out and shoot the best you can. Yep. If you have like a reward at the end, right? So like with a team, it'll be whoever wins gets ice cream, or like movie tickets, like something of value, right? Yeah. All of a sudden, like, the light comes on and they want to shoot good. Yep. So if you can do that with any, if you're working with a shooting team, by all means. For myself, I've been very fortunate because I also have the toughest competitor to shoot with, and being my brother. And so it's, when you look at it, like we always tell people, you're not shooting against someone. Like, your competition isn't that other person, it's you versus that target. But it's also good to have that competition factor, where you're shooting with someone else that's a high grade or high quality shooter, and it seems to elevate your game. You shoot with people that shoot 100 straights, and you're going to be the next one that shoots 100 straight. Yeah. Yeah. So again, there's so much with the mental game we can talk about. Going out like in wind, there's a lot of people, we'll call them JPs, justification points, where basically they put it in their mind that it's, I'm sorry, I had a phone call coming in. That basically it's okay to go out and miss a target. It's windy out, it's too sunny out, there's clouds in the sky, there's a bug on my barrel, there's boyfriend or
Bug
girlfriend
on my barrel.
Oh yeah, sweat bees in Illinois are ridiculous. But like boyfriend girlfriend issue, work issue, school issue, like there's so many things that people will get in their mind and put as what we call JP blockers, where they get out to the line, they're not focused on shooting, there's other stuff going on up there. So if you can let all that go and focus on what you need to focus on with shooting, and that goes for anything, whether it's trap shooting, whether it's 3-gun, archery, anything. Yeah.
I think that's why kids succeed a little bit better, because they don't have any of those worries, or a lot of them, and they just go and they're like, I'm here to have fun. What problems in life?
Right.
So yeah, I mean mental game's huge. Okay, so talk a little bit about the youth camps that you guys put on. So like, who does those? How many kids do you have? Where are they held? How would someone get to do that? All that jazz.
Sure. So like I said, we used to do a ton of them throughout the US, just like we get it set up kind of as we were going on the circuit. For trap shooting, we do a clinic here and a clinic there and just all throughout the US. But we've had to kind of scale it back a little bit because we were getting so many people not appreciative of what we were doing. And it was more like, hey, you have to come to our club or else we're not going somewhere else. And so like it got to the point where we just said, okay, let's do this in a positive way where we can get one central place that we're meeting up, or a couple of places throughout the US, where we can plan on hosting it every single year. And so we do a clinic in Pierre, South Dakota, and it's Pierre, not Pierre. For any of those that don't live in South Dakota, you can look it up on Google and it says that, like, if you're not a South Dakota native or citizen, however you want to say that, South Dakotian, a lot of people will say Pierre when they come through, and then anybody that's local, like in Pierre, so anyways, that's off
really
topic.
Important.
Yeah, important. It's just funny because we'll laugh, like people on the phone, it's like, yeah, we're going to be going through Pierre, and it's like, you have no idea. But anyways, that's left field. So but where was I at even now?
So youth camps, one's in South Dakota, Pierre.
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 You not know South Dakota's capital? Oh.
Okay. Fun fact, I have no idea where any states are besides like the few that I'm around. I have no idea what capital is. Geography is not for me.
That's fair. That's what Mother Google is for, right? Yeah.
Okay, so one camp's there.
Yep. So one camp is in Pierre, South Dakota. We've been hosting it there 6 or 7 years now. This past year we had 260 kids, about 140 to 180 parents. Like it was crazy big.
Yeah.
35 coaches from, I want to say 5 or 6 different states come to this event.
Volunteer, like coaches?
Yeah. Yep. So our clinic, everything is free of charge. It was really cool. Winchester sent out a bunch of flats for the kids for trap shooting shells. South Dakota State paid for all the clay targets. And then Lynn's Dakota Mart here in South Dakota paid for all the food for the kids. So it was like, it's pretty cool because they get there and everything's free. Like we don't charge anything for our time or travel. So it's just these messages of positivity, accountability, passion, shooting clay targets, and everything in between. So we have a presentation that we go through, and it's typically probably about 45 minutes to an hour, depending on how in depth we want to go or how off topic I get. So basically we'll go through all of that with the presentation, and then we get out on the range shooting with the kids. So they're shooting, we're coaching, helping them. We'll come in for lunch. typically go over a few different things that we saw or things to have kids try out. We'll do some giveaway stuff, get some photos, and then we'll go out shooting again. And then after these shoots, we always try to end with an Annie Oakley, because we talk about that competition factor. And like, you'll watch kids go through and do very, very well, but then you get them into this Annie Oakley and it just elevates them a step further. It's like, okay, like, because we'll put in like $50 or like a flat of shells, or my mom and dad made belt buckles for this. The Annie Oakley winner for Bartholo Brothers clinic. And so like, if they win, they get to take this belt buckle home. So, I mean, again, you have a prize and it elevates their game tremendously.
What's the age range for the camp people?
So we typically try to, it's not as much like a hunt safe course. We're more welcome to have people that haven't shot before come to these, because it's a great opportunity to learn. But we try to have at least a year or two under their belt. So safety wise, because we're working with a lot of kids, and again, we do have kids that haven't shot before come to these events, but typically we just be careful with that. That's a lot. But and then we call it a youth clinic, but anyone is free to come to these clinics. I mean, we'll have guys that are 60, 70 coming to these clinics too to learn. And then, so we have one in Pierre. We, in the past, have held one in West Point, Iowa. That one, schedule-wise for this year, was not going to work out. Have other stuff going on that we couldn't make happen. But we will be going down then to the AIM Grand, and that is in Sparta, Illinois. It's at the largest trap shooting facility in the U.S. It's 2.5 miles of trap houses, if you can believe that or not. Like, you sit in the middle and like you look both ways, and it's just solid fields of trap shooting.
Oh my God. How many acres is 2.5 miles of
stuff? A lot. And they have a sporting clays range, or a couple of them. They have skeet, they have archery. Like, it's really cool. If you have the opportunity to check out Sparta, Illinois, or the WSRC, the World Shooting Recreational Complex, I would recommend you check it out. When there's no shooting going on, it's a desert. It's pretty bare. But I mean, when there's big shoots going on, it's crazy how it fills up, and there's people. So,
is there an off season for shotgun traps shooting in general, or?
I mean, you'll have people that shoot year round, like down in Texas, especially. But for myself, I'm too engulfed with hunting that we shoot for 2 months out of the summer, and that I'm ready to put the shotgun down and pick up a different shotgun.
Okay. All right. So talk about the hunting stuff that you've done. Like, what animals have you hunted? How are you? Like, I know you do hunting guide stuff too. Like, talk about that.
Sure. From an early age, I love hunting everything. That's, I don't know, always kind of that's one of my biggest passions for sure. Like, I remember in like elementary school, like, I was so excited because I get to go on a pheasant hunt with my dad. And like, he'd always pull me out of school early on Friday. And I felt like the luckiest, coolest kid in the world, because it's like, I'm turning the flip, and you're heading out. And as long as I kept my grades up, but we're heading out, going pheasant hunting, and I'd be like studying, going over, coming back, and but that's what I love to do, get out into the outdoors. I've always had a passion for it, and it's just, I don't know, something about getting away from everybody else and your own time to be you.
But so pheasant. I say that a lot. Pheasant's my favorite word. Turkeys. Have you hunted sand cranes, or is that on your list?
Sandhill cranes I have hunted.
Sandhill cranes, Steve, don't know.
Oh my gosh, so they call them ribeye in the sky.
Yeah.
They're phenomenal, and it does not. It's more like a New York strip, but regardless, like, you can fillet those open and put them right on the grill, and you'll swear to God, it's the best steak you ever had.
Wow. Okay. What else?
So sandhill cranes, ducks, geese, turkeys, elk, deer, antelope. I did shoot a buffalo when I was younger.
What? Where?
Yeah. So it was here in South Dakota. My dad bought myself and my grandpa buffalo hunt each. So like we both, went out shooting a ton. I think I was 14 at the time. Um, yeah, and so I shot my buffalo first, and then he shot one as well, and it was like this really cool experience that I don't really talk about much anymore. But yeah, it's
Oh, it's neat. Buffalo's really good. Like really
oh,
good.
so good. Yeah, like my grandma had to buy like 3 extra freezers for all the meat for these.
It's still cheaper than having to buy that meat.
No kidding. If we could go back, then yeah, shoot a few more buffalo for sure. But yeah, so pretty much if I can hunt it, I'm definitely doing it.
Yeah.
My loves dove hunting, so it's nice. We get back from trap shooting and immediately, like, I have fields scouted out and know where the doves are at, and we go out, and it's 15 doves per person per day out here, and it's crazy. Like, we'll go out and my brother will have his 15 doves. Like, I'll call him and be like, "Hey, how many you got?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm at like 8." And it's like, "Oh, cool, I have like 2." And but yeah, like, he'll get his 15 doves. He's a sure shot with doves.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
But
now, and you have a hunting dog?
I do. Yep. So his name is Shadow. He's now 9 years old, so he's getting up there a little bit, but he still goes like he's 3 years old. But yeah, he does very well. I've trained him for waterfowl. A lot of people, same thing. You have like a pheasant hunting dog or waterfowl hunting dog. I feel like it's kind of one or the other. They can do okay with the other one, but he's trained for waterfowl. So basically he knows all of his commands. Like, he's been out on, 300, 400, 500 yard retrieves.
Wow.
To get, and if he can hear the whistle, he'll sit down and stop and wait for the next command, whether it's over, away, or back. It's pretty incredible to watch. And
did you train him, or did he go off to a school?
No, I trained him all on my own. That was, I wanted to do that. That was like a huge, at that time, like, I had a lot more time than I do now, it seems like. But that was, so like, we started off training him with like feathers, and then we went out pigeon. And then, like, I remember my wife basically holding him in the kennel as I would come up to shoot a pigeon, and then letting him go when I would say his name. So it's really cool. Like, when we're out goose hunting now, he just knows all this now and doesn't don't practice a whole lot in the summertime. He just gets out and he gets into his blind, and it's like a light bulb switches on.
Because he's also a total like lap dog.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. So yeah, but he gets out, and it's really cool because birds come in. They'll be landed like 10 yards away from him, and he'll stay in his kennel and doesn't get out. Or we get up to shoot. He doesn't break at all. So he doesn't go until I say Shadow, dead bird. Which is, I don't know, kind of one of my big pet peeves for waterfowl. Cause like, you have birds landing and all of a sudden dogs are going out. And that's my scariest thing, like, is if a dog would get shot out there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
do you do public land and private land then?
Yeah, in South Dakota, it's you have, I'd say, more private land that you hunt. Okay. Especially up here, that corridor with the river right there has so many ducks and geese that migrate down on it that it's tough to say no to go over there when there's 250,000 birds in that. So yeah, we do tons of hunting, but typically it's more private, but definitely there's a lot of public ground up there too.
Yeah. Now, and he's a black lab, because I know we've had this conversation. Australian Shepherds, there's black labs. So
each their own.
Yeah. Dude, what'd you say?
I'm gonna stick with the lab.
Yeah, that's fair. Actually, we'll talk about that. So at SHOT Show, we're hanging out with Tony McBride and Dylan, and Dylan and Foster are total lab owners, lab dog owners, whatever. And me and Tony are like Team Australian Shepherds. Like, we love our dogs. That's where all of this came from.
Yeah, it was like, just met those two for the first time. We were at what was it, Top Golf?
Yes.
And yeah, started talking to him and found out Dylan's a huge elk hunter as well. So like, we're going like crazy on elk hunting and duck and goose hunting, and yeah, like come over and start talking about dogs, and it's like, get out of here, like with your or whatever they are.
Australian Shepherds. Oh my gosh. Hers is so cute. Danny's so cute. Now, for people listening, so Foster has a hidden talent that he hasn't shared yet with the world.
You see it.
See what?
I said you can see it on Instagram.
It's true.
You got to be careful of how you put that.
That's
we
true.
take place.
So his hidden talent, though, is hitting golf balls over the Top Golf straight back to like what 600 yards. What is that?
Oh, like it's yeah. I love driving the ball, but anything other than that, I mean, I used to play golf. Well, let me rewind that one. I'd go out practicing golf with my dad, so he showed me a few things. But I love to drive the ball, and so that's what I'd always practice, and pretty with it.
I think next year we should take a shot per ball over the fence because we didn't do that, and I think we would all be blitzed by the end of it. So I think you sent like 4 or 5 balls, and it showed the velocity.
Right. It was fun because, like, well, who was trying to do that right away? Was it Hunter or JR? Or?
I feel like it had to have been JR. That's a JR thing. I feel like, yeah.
He was trying to get it over the. I think didn't he get it over the fence?
I think he got it over once, yeah. And like Marco and I did not. Tony didn't. Did Dylan? I don't remember. We have videos.
He was a natural at everything, so you'd think that he would just send it over 2 pieces, but
so good. Yeah, that was really fun.
Yeah. So yeah, they're like, hey, do you? Well, yeah, you were like, hey, do you golf at all? And I'm like, well, I can drive it, okay.
Just a little bit.
Well, we went. What was it? Sioux Falls. We went again, and a kid brought his own driver with, and they're sitting next to us, and I'm just using the golf clubs that they have, and the kid's like, dude, you have to use this driver. I'm like, he's like, yeah, this is one that like that Tiger Woods uses or something. It's like a $700 driver or something, $800. He's like, yeah, hit this one a few times, and did, and it was just like money, just butter going. Yeah,
that's your new thing. Oh, that cracks me up.
I have to do that again. That was fun.
100%. So I know we've digressed a little bit here too. I wanted to talk, and it's like completely kind of changing subjects, but I want to talk about social media and how like you've used social media for positive. I feel like I have, hopefully, but how important that is for, you know, the Second Amendment, for sponsors, for just in general, like the concealed carry in politics and everything like that. So how do you see people like using social media, and how can we do better on social media?
Sure. I think, sorry, I have a text going through. I think you see a lot of pros and cons with hunting side, shooting side. Obviously social media in general, I feel is completely against the Second Amendment.
Yeah.
So it's tough because there are limitations. But being positive, right? Like on my page, especially right now during the summertime, I'm going to be posting a lot with shooting content, a lot with tips and how to do different things, and really try to educate a lot more people out there. So I think in that sense, it's a very good tool, obviously for your sponsors, right? Like they love it because it's content gold for helping those people that are just getting into shooting. There's so many new shooters in America right now too, and I'm sure you've probably gone over that with a lot of different podcasts that you do. And
it's cool to see, though. I read an article literally today. It said 1 million gun transfers in June.
Yep. Yeah.
And I'm like 12 of those. So
right.
Kidding and not kidding all at the same time. Yeah.
Don't look my safe, but here you go.
But,
yeah. So, I mean, but that's the cool part is that there's such a great opportunity to get in front of people and make such a big impact with others. But I think that on the other side of the spectrum, right, like especially you see hunting content where there's so many people that it's all about the kill now, or it's all about the Instagram photo rather than the experience in the hunt. That again, pros and cons, because you have, no matter what you do, right, you're going to have people for the right reasons or the wrong reasons. So it's tough to say, like social media has flipped the game for hunting, but there definitely are a lot more people that are, you know, posting everything to social media that shouldn't be posted.
Yeah.
But again, it's a great tool to learn. And I mean, for any kind of hunting, You learn so much by watching other people too, and kind of how they do it, mistakes they might make, or how, things that they do that are completely right that have helped me on the field too. So it's a great tool, and especially just like with shooting sports or anything else, how we met on social media, like you wouldn't know these other people. So it's a great tool for learning and meeting other people and seeing other people in the industry and how they do stuff. And
100%.
but yeah, it's tough because anymore now it seems like on Instagram my views I get are way lower. Whatever algorithm they have now is.
There's a lot of shadow banning, and we tried to use this hashtag for this giveaway. A buddy of mine, and it was like multi-gun range day. They blocked every single picture on there. Then it was multi-fun gun range day or something like that. All gone as well. Like we just kept trying different hashtags, and straight up, like I could see a picture, someone else could see like two, even though there were dozens, and then ended up like being removed. Like it's wild. It's not wild, but it's freaking annoying.
Right.
And the answer isn't like having a Parler, having a separate platform just for us. Like I think that's great and all, but it's not, because at the end of the day, we should be educating and teaching people that don't know firearms or like are curious about firearms. And so like we don't need to be in our own bubble. We all still need to be, I don't know, connected, if that makes sense.
Yep. Absolutely, it does.
So that's a challenge.
So many people on the other side of the fence that they've seen guns in a negative way, whether that's mainstream media, whether that's just friends or family that haven't hunted, don't shoot, don't really understand what it's about. But you have trap shooting being the fastest growing sport in America right now, and it doesn't get any attention on it. And the safest sport in America. There's been millions of rounds shot, and you don't have accidents, and definitely you don't see injuries like you do with baseball or football or anything else. But again, it doesn't get that attention that it really deserves.
Yeah,
but
it never will. Maybe.
No,
I don't think it will. But
yeah, it's no.
Love to be positive, but no.
Right? Yeah, but no, it's a great place, social media, and like I said, for sponsors, for getting the people, hopefully educating others, showing them the right things to do or what we do, and hopefully that will make an impact with them 100%.
Yeah. Now I'm going to ask you a question that I ask a lot of my students. So I'm assuming you carry a gun every day.
I have one around. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, my question is like, why do you feel like, a firearm is a tool, something that you feel safe with? Like, why do you carry? Why do you keep guns?
I mean, I'm out hunting, and I'm going to definitely carry a pistol with me because, yeah, you have a situation where something happens. You definitely need it. You have a rifle in that same case, or even out archery hunting, I guess. But it's just that safety factor when we're out here, and there's mountain lions in the Black Hills of South Dakota. So you never know, but you turn it around for personal defense and concealed carry. I feel like South Dakota is a little bit different from a lot of other places where at any given time you could have 10 people in the store carrying a gun and not know about it. But there's just a lot less restrictions out here. So I don't feel like I probably have as good of insight as maybe someone that's closer to a city or seasoned perspective. But yeah, that's why if I lived in a bigger city, for sure, like you'd see that gun on my hip all the time if I could, or where it's at. Not going to go into something, yeah. But I don't know. I mean, what do you think? Like, how is it out there for you guys?
For Florida, you have to go through a class. Tennessee is the same way. Tennessee changed though to constitutional carry, which is great, but it's for open carry and in the state only carry, right? So the reciprocity isn't there for me, who is never home. I need a handgun permit that is reciprocated with other states. So I have my Florida and my Tennessee one. But like for me, I've never had to pull a trigger, but I've had to use a firearm when someone was breaking into my apartment in college. I have been on the receiving end of abuse, I'll just say that, had stitches in my ear, all sorts of stuff, where at that time, like I wasn't old enough to have a gun. Wish I had, not to pull a trigger, but to de-escalate the situation or stop a threat, right? Like or even the in-between, like having a knife, having pepper spray, like whatever it looks like. I think it's important to have the tools. just be able to equalize the fight, right? It's like there are people that are bigger than me, stronger than me that I can't outrun or and I can't outmaneuver. So it's just really important for me. And like this is different for everyone, but I am like prepared, I would say, to protect someone else. Like if it's my friend, my family member, all of that, like that's my responsibility. If I can save them from something and I have the gun, right, I'm going to. I think I say that, right? I've never been in that situation, but for me, my why is that nobody else is going to defend it for me. Law enforcement don't get paid enough to be attached to my hip, and they're not going to be there fast enough. But
it's like, no offense, Tony.
No offense, yeah, awesome, but yeah, I mean, like I share my police report in a lot of my classes. I call the police, and then I call my friends when I was having that guy break in and stuff, and had my gun out, and my friends got there before the police got there.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So, I mean, the response time is what it is. But if I didn't have that, I don't think I would feel safe or comfortable. I don't know what I would have done. Just panicked.
Absolutely. No, but I think that definitely something you want to have. It's just, how do you educate more people on this? Because again, mainstream media projects this in such a negative light that if you're trying to defend yourself, all of a sudden, I mean, it's crazy, but
yeah,
no, I definitely, where I can, I'll be carrying a pistol, and or I keep one in my truck, and when I'm, that's kind of a tough one, because like you'll say, yeah, I keep one in the truck, and then all of a sudden 3 days later my truck's been broken into.
It's broken into, yeah.
Right. But yeah, I mean, where I can, I'll definitely have. I've never had to pull my gun on anybody, but I'm not a good looking young lady either, so I think I have going for me.
You're so nice. No, I mean, it could happen to anybody. And then the opportunity is there. And what's interesting, like with you, like I don't hunt as much as you, but I'm going to Yellowstone this fall. I'm going to be flying and taking that, flying that pistol there, because I'm going to be by myself hiking for 4 days in a national park. I know things that go down that are sketchy, but even when I hike here in the Smoky Mountains, like I have a gun on me, and I do a lot of teaching about like, how do you carry with a full pack on, or while backpacking, and all of that. There are ways to carry, and so like the excuses for not just women, but for everyone is just, I try to take those away from people. There are so many methods to carry now. Like there's no excuse not to.
Oh yeah. I've watched a couple of those, and it's helped me out, because like before hunting, like I'd have it like on my side, and it's just like getting in the way of the pack, and
so uncomfortable. Yeah. But anyways, we don't have to go too far down that, but yeah, I think that's really important to talk about. And I think sharing the whys helps other people realize that it's a tool, or why it's important. Not that we just want to have our guns to shoot stuff up. That's not a thing.
No. Yep. You nailed that one.
Yeah. Okay. Changing lanes, because we're going to wrap this up soon. I had a question about, if you had to pick any other shooting sport, you couldn't shoot trap or skeet or anything shotgun.
Okay.
What would you shoot?
Long range.
Really? Like PRS? Like precision rifle series, National Rifle League stuff?
Probably some. So we got to train with a few of the top rifle shooters and teachers out here in the Black Hills, and they taught us so much. And like we went out to the range, and it goes like I don't even know how many miles they can shoot. Just like and I went with my I went with my 6.5 Creedmoor X-Bolt. Just got that in. I got that new Vortex scope on it. I'm like pumped up, super excited for it. They're like, well, how far do you want to shoot? And I was like, if I can shoot like, I don't know, 500-600 yards, I'll feel pretty good about myself. And they're like, if we only go 500-600 yards, we're not doing our job. And they're like, let's push you out past, or at least to a mile. And like my brain just like couldn't comprehend that right away. It's like, holy cow, like, are we just like getting ready to go on like Shooter for the movie or something? And but it was really cool, because they sat us down and we went through MOA and MRAD and all of the different stuff that is very simple for you guys that you live, breathe, and know.
Well, I gotta judge you real quick. What is your scope? Hopefully you say the right answer.
Now I'm a little nervous. So I have the Vortex Viper PST Gen 2.
But is it Mills or is it MOA?
It's MOA.
No, that's the wrong answer.
Yep, I figured.
Okay, keep
Um,
going.
just because it was, yeah, like I said, if I was going to get into this,
Yeah.
but easy wise, and they're like, go with this because it's just,
Yeah.
it's
100%.
for yeah, not being a long range precision, right, going to be a lot easier for you to comprehend. But anyways, yeah, so that's what I went with, and it was really cool because, like I said, they just sat us down, went through everything, really fine tuned my abilities,
Mhm.
and we started making a dope card for shooting out that far because I've never shot a mile
Yeah.
intentionally. And but yeah, it was really cool because we started going through, and we're getting out 800-900,000 yards and just kept pushing it. And it's really cool because they had these targets because they train the top snipers
Mhm.
in the US or from around the world. And so they have these targets that are like in a shape of a human, right? Or, like you have the head and the body. And then it's cool because like when the bullet would impact, they have the deals that light up the target. So,
MGM flasher targets, yeah.
yeah. Yep. Thank you.
Mhm.
So at 1,800 yards, you're able to see this. So yeah, so that's what we did is we just kept backing it up. We got to 1,800 yards, and there was a good crosswind, and they're teaching us all that. But it was cool because we're able to get everything set up with the drop, and then still have enough room in the scope to be able to be on target.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, just shooting, and it's like right around like a circle around this target. And I hit the target, and they're like, we're all like hooping and hollering, excited about it.
Mhm.
And it's like, okay, I want to one up this and make it better. I want to head shoot this at a mile. And so that was the next goal. So I think it took me like 12 shots, but ended up putting one right through the moneymaker. And yeah, and then so my brother got up, and I think it took him like 5 shots or something. He's, like I said, he's a natural with it.
He's such a like, yeah, like whatever, like chill. Oh, I can shoot that. Like not even trying. He's so good.
Cool hand, no issues at all. Yeah, so he he hit it at a mile at like 5 shots, and just that experience kind of opened my eyes. It's definitely nothing that I want to do for hunting wise. Like, not gonna take like 1,000-yard shot, 1,200-yard shot at an elk.
Because there's a lot of elements, like you can guess wind calls or whatever, and you can get pretty close, but like you never know.
Right. And just the overall trajectory of the bullet, like,
Yeah.
I like shooting elk a lot closer if I can.
Yeah. Yeah.
In Colorado. So I went up for the first time. I got invited on a Colorado elk hunt, and my first elk that I shot was like 12 or 14 yards away. With a rifle when I shot it, like I saw it coming down this ridge, and so I just like hat went on backwards, like I got down in my kneeling position, just ready, and I knew it was either going to go up the ridge or straight at me, just with where I was at.
Yeah.
Little did I know I was right on his exact trail that he wanted to go. And so yeah, he came, and the wind was perfect for me, but I'm just waiting there. He stops at like 12 yards and put the hammer down on him. And then the next one I shot was 100 yards away, and then there was a rock wall behind me on that one, or excuse me, behind him on that one. And so when I shot, he heard that sound reverberate, and so he starts coming towards me. So he like stops at like 50 yards, and I put another one into behind the shoulder. And same thing, like he went down right away. And then the third elk that I shot in Colorado was 47 yards away, and shot him heart shot 100% at 47 yards with 300 Win Mag. Like,
nice. Yeah.
It this things up quick. So he just starts running, like comes like, I want to say it was like 12 to 18 yards away from me, and like falls down right in front of me. It was scary as heck, but really cool.
Yeah.
I thought I was up creek on that one too. but yeah, so like, I don't know, like I've had these experiences a lot closer. And just hunting in general, I feel like, again, it's not how far out I can push the limits. For me, it's how close I can get to the animal without them.
Clean shot.
Yeah. So again, to each their own. Like I've heard stories of people shooting elk, at 1,200 yards, and to each their own. Typically guys that are doing that, they're putting in a pattern at 1,200 yards that would compare to my 600-yard shooting. So again, they have the right setup by all means. It's just not in the cards for me.
Yeah, no, I totally get it.
Yeah.
So overall for Foster, like what's next for you in life in this year, next year?
Gosh, there's so many things going on, but yeah, there's a lot with, obviously we're getting ready to go shoot. That's a huge thing for us. So we'll continue on with that. We're picking up quite a few more sponsors with the shooting sports, which is really cool to see. Hunting wise, I got the elk hunt of a lifetime that's coming up. And then from there, we started up a new business for wedding photography and videography.
Yeah.
So kind of one of those things where I've always been very passionate about photos and video work. I used to have a TV show, Waterfowl Obsession TV, on the Sportsman channel that I did with Scott Butts. And we traveled throughout Canada and all the way down through the US filming and hunting geese. And then, it's just one of those things where, I don't know, always loved video side of things and photography. So we started up a business and bought new cameras and new computer and all the gear that no one wants to invest in. But it's going to be awesome. So
it's like when you buy that camera, you're like, I could have bought 2 nice trap shotguns with that.
Pretty much. Yeah. Or more. Or one.
Or more. Yeah. It's like every time I compare what I buy, I'm like, I could have done this with that.
Right. And then it's like, but in the long run, it's definitely some of the photos. So we stopped in the Badlands.
That ram? Is it the ram that I saw? Was incredible. Right.
That was the first, I saw him distance, and I don't really know the laws, so maybe I should on
Taylor's like, yeah, that's my husband up there on the ranch, just climbing on the side of the road, don't mind him. And you're just like, hi.
Right. Saw the ram. It's like, okay, I'm gonna go. And I from what I heard is that you're supposed to stay like a certain distance away from them, which I definitely did. But it was really cool because some of the shots, like I thought I was being super sneaky, like going into, Cameron Haynes stealth mode and getting around the corner and like coming up on the point. And he didn't see me at all. Like he saw me the whole time. He just didn't care. But it was really cool because like some of the shots I got, I haven't posted to social media, but like just with the Badlands behind him laying down. And it was just kind of one of those cool experiences, especially for the first time using the camera. And now I'm getting into like astrophotography and more like your night shooting stuff and going out and setting up the tent and getting the Milky Way behind it. And there's so much you can do with a camera that, And then obviously for weddings, we filmed a couple weddings already, and that's been staying busy. So it's a lot of fun because like you capture so much more than I feel like what you can capture for photos.
Yeah.
And I don't know, video just adds a different aspect, especially for weddings, and you get so much more. I don't even know how to explain it, but there's just so much on that like 30 years down the road, someone's going to watch these videos, and it just seems like photos are great, but they just kind of get thrown away where you can have your video on a drive and you can watch it and you're right back in the way
you were.
Yeah. So when you have a videographer.
Oh, when you mean if that's the proper word. If
it's a when.
If ever. No, it's an if ever.
Going into the next conversation, but yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, my final stuff is just wrapping this up. Like, who are the sponsors that you want to thank that have worked with you?
Yeah, so I mean, like I said, we have a lot of really great sponsors. Browning and Winchester have been longtime sponsors for us, and it's been so amazing because, again, we get to get out and do so many great things with their help, and we're so grateful for that. Onyx came on board this year.
Nice.
So I've been working with Onyx just in the past for, like, they've sent a bunch of cool swag and stuff to our youth clinics, which it's amazing because, like, you wouldn't think, like, okay, trap shooting and Onyx don't really fit, but there's so many people that hunt that we'll give away like a free Onyx membership, and it's like they go crazy over that. So it's really cool to see. But yeah, they picked it up. Basically, they want to be more boots on the ground, helping with these clinics. So they're doing a ton of stuff for us this year at the AIM Grand. We're going to get like free ice cream tickets to hand out to a ton of kids for the AIM Grand. And yeah, just it's so cool to see this stuff. We picked up GSM as a sponsor, so like Birchwood Casey, Walker's Game Air. So it's been really nice. Like Walker's Game Airs for us when we're teaching, they have the FireMax Pro kits, and I just like they have the walkie-talkies in there. So it's like really cool because like instead of like 3 traps down the line, like I can click that and be like, Matt, hey, come over here. I need you to look at this 2-eyed shooter to help figure this one out. Or if I have questions, just communication, it's super easy and saves. I wish if we would have had half the stuff when we were growing up, it'd be.
Yeah. So like Gals Day, that was the same problem. There's no service out there. There's no internet, Wi-Fi, nothing. And so like, again, 3 bays over, I'm like, cool, got to go run over here. Okay. Got to go run over here. Okay. I don't know where they are. So like walkie-talkies or like that system would be really nice.
Yeah. I'm very excited. So this year I'm using Rambo bikes for.
I've been cracking up at your post with that. Yes.
Oh, so awesome. I think we put like, honestly, 35, 40 miles on the Rambo bikes the other day. Because we get to an area for elk hunting, you really try to find water sources right now because 100 degrees out, they have to hit water. Yep. And so you put trail cameras up on all these different water holes. Like, so on X, I went through and literally found like every water hole in the western side of the Black Hills. It's ridiculous. My Onyx looks like a LGBTQ pride going through the hills with all the different colors and everything. But it's really cool because I have it figured out where like all the water holes are at. And so I get to a specific spot in the hills, and it's like, okay, here's water hole here, 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 and here. And then I get to that spot, drive out the Rambo bike, check that water hole. It's like, okay, there's been elk on here or there's not, or activity, or the water hole's dry, whatever it may be. Yep. But if it's looking good, I'll set up a trail cam and then drive another 5 miles down the road, put up the other trail cam, get back to the truck, go to a different spot. And just but the amount of time, energy, effort that is spent not having to walk the whole way and kill my knees more than they're already hurting. So
that's awesome. Those are cool bikes.
They're awesome. Yeah. So it's one of those tools that's just beneficial. And so yeah, if you're looking for a new bike, definitely check out Rambo too.
Oh, that is awesome. Okay. Anybody else?
That's our main sponsors. Yeah.
Cool. Now, okay, how do people find you on social media, and what's your website?
That's a great question there. So our website is trapshootingbros.com. Simple. Typically I'll try to keep it pretty updated with the different free youth clinics we have going on or what's going on. We do host private shooting clinics as well. Either of those, we've done some over internet, like on a Skype Zoom call. We've obviously host them in person. So it's kind of whatever anybody wants or someone needs. If you need mental training, we can get on the phone and help out there too. As far as social media goes, it's Foster Bartholo. You could probably throw on a ad.
Yeah.
But yeah, and so like go there, check out some of the content I have. It's a lot of goose hunting, big game hunting, turkey hunting, and then pretty much exactly what you'd expect. So,
and then what's the brothers account that you run?
So we have the Bartholo Brothers Instagram page as well. That one doesn't get as much; it's more trap shooting specific.
Yeah.
Obviously, but yeah. So I'll post quite a bit of content on there for trap shooting. But a lot of that stuff you can find on Trap Shooting Bros too on the website. So I have different blogs and articles that I've wrote, and yeah, it's yeah.
Thank you for sharing all your knowledge. I learned a lot about 40, 60, 50, 50, and like all the things.
And everything in left field, yeah.
Yeah, and everything in left field. No, it's really cool. I mean, I wish I had gotten into that early. Shotguns, my favorite guns. They're a lot of fun to shoot. Like you said, very safe to be at. And who doesn't like exploding things up in the air?
Amen to that one. Absolutely. No, that's why I told someone the other day, it's like, man, if I would have known like half the stuff that I do now when I was a kid, it would have just the opportunities, right, that people have nowadays versus even 10 years ago. It's mind blowing to see how far this industry has come and continues to grow. So
Yeah.
I'm excited to see what happens in the next 10 years, 20 years, and how we can impact that. Cause that's what it takes, is you and I and everybody else being a positive influence out there to help this industry and make it into something that, will last for a generation or lifetimes. And so,
yeah. And for the people listening to, like, just, they could take, one person to the range. I know you and I put on these events, your brother, they don't have to go out and have 100 people event and all of that. Like, just take one.
Yep.
So,
yep. If you have help a kid out, we always preach that. It was cool. We had one gal we helped out this year, and my dad's just like the social butterfly too. So you get out to a trap shoot and he's out like shaking hands and talking to everybody. But it's really cool. So he met this family from here in South Dakota, but the young gal was just starting to shoot. So we helped. She came out. We did a couple different clinics with her and really went through a lot of different tips and got her shooting well. She shoots phenomenally well now, and we're going through just a couple of her goals. And she's like, well, obviously this with trap shooting. I said, well, anything for hunting? Cause hi, that's me. And she's like, yeah, I want to get out and I want to shoot a bear and I want to go on a goose hunt. And it's like, well, I can definitely help you with the goose hunt, but I'm going to stay away from bears. So it was super cool because we got a field scouted out. I was actually able to save this field. The landowners that I have for this one gave me exclusive permission for this ground. So it's really nice to be able to kind of let the birds just continue feeding in that ground and build the group up. Typically what you'll see with goose hunting, if you're not a goose hunter, they'll start, you might have 30 birds coming into this field and all of a sudden it'll grow to 50 and then 100. And then by the time you know it, you have like 2,000, 3,000 birds going into a field. But if you don't let it build up, if you go and shoot them when it's at 50, you might not have it build up like what you were hoping to. So, but yeah, we had the opportunity, built up this field. It's like, okay, this day is going to be perfect. You typically want a little bit of wind to bring these birds in and guide them and then set out the decoys. And it was going to be like the perfect conditions, not like -30, but not too warm either. I think it was like 20 degrees out for goose hunting. That's like,
yeah,
that's good. But yeah, she got out there and it was so cool because we gave her one of our 20 gauge silver Browning shotguns. And, I gave her some of my TSS. So TSS is tungsten super shot. It's non-toxic, but it's like, gosh, what is it? 60% heavier than lead.
Okay.
40 or 60% heavier than, but it also comes at a price because it's a lot more expensive. So like per shell, you're, looking at $6-7 a shell. Luckily I had quite a few of them sitting around. So for her goose hunt ever, we loaded up that gun with the non-toxic TSS, and which is legal for waterfowl hunting. And and so she went out and we had this first goose come in and she pulled up on it and just put the hammer down on it. And, so she's smiling, grinning ear to ear. And then we had a pair come in right after that. So loaded her back up with the shells and here come the birds. We're like, okay, you have first shots. And my dad's like, just stay on them. And sure enough, these birds come in and she pulls the trigger on the first one, hammer down, pulls the trigger on the second one, hammer down. It's just like, she's looking at, like, she's smiling ear to ear, grinning. And it's like, this is so cool. But, it doesn't always happen like that, but it was cool because it's, again, just bringing a kid into the sport, giving her a really good first goose hunt.
Yeah.
We went on a goose hunt after that. And it's hunting, right? So you never know, but she's phenomenal shooter. We saw her and her family a couple nights ago out trap shooting, and she's shooting like 23s, 24s, 25s. So
wow, that's awesome.
She's rocking it. But yeah, if you have opportunity, definitely help kid get more people into the sport. I mean, I know it's tough, like with waterfowl or with any hunting.
Yeah.
You try to keep some of the spots, to yourself. It's like that favorite fishing hole, right? That it's a secret when you don't tell anybody. So, but we try to get out a lot of active military veterans.
Yep.
So, and taking out youth hunters. So it's really cool because for us in our area, we have 3, 4, 5 fields that the landowners have given us exclusive permission for.
Nice.
So we've posted no hunting on it, but the opportunity to take these veterans, take these kids out, it helps so much when we can have to go and hunt for them. So
awesome.
Yeah.
And just getting someone to pull the trigger, we know how addictive it is. So one shot,
right.
you're good.
Yeah.
Well, Foster,
go
ahead. Yeah.
Thank you so much for having me on, and hopefully this is what you're looking for.
Absolutely. Yeah, listeners, thanks for tuning in. This was the first that I've been able to meet with someone that actually knows shotgun stuff that I don't know. But follow Foster for sure on social media. Stay tuned for more shenanigans in January at SHOT Show. So just be sure to follow one of us.
Or both. Yeah.
And stay tuned for the next episode of the Reticle Up Podcast.
Thanks for listening to the Reticle Up Podcast. Be sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. Follow along on social media at Reticle Up or 3 Gun Kenzie.